Tales from '85 wasn't supposed to exist yet, but here it is. An entire animated series set, arriving way sooner than anyone expected. This is everything known about the show that's about to rewrite Hawkins' darkest winter. Fans have been asking for more stories from this world for years, talking about spin-offs and side adventures, but most people thought those ideas were still just talk. Turns out the creative minds behind the original series had been planning this move from the very beginning. The timing feels perfect too, arriving at a moment when audiences are hungry for more content. This isn't some quick cash grab or random side project. Real care went into developing the show, and that attention shows in every frame of footage revealed so far. The title of this new animated series tells us exactly when the story happens. 1980 for any Stranger Things fan, that year is a huge deal. We already know that in the summer of 1985 during Season 3, Hawkins was nearly destroyed by monsters and secret underground invasions. However, this series is not just repeating that story. Every frame is filled with snow-covered streets and frosted windows, meaning the story takes place during the winter. This timing creates a fascinating puzzle for the audience. If it happens before the summer, we have to wonder how a giant supernatural threat could occur in the winter without the main characters like Mike or Eleven mentioning it later in Season 3. The story would have to be a secret mission that was solved before the summer even began. If it happens after the summer, the town would be in total shock. The local mall was just destroyed and many people moved away or died. A winter story here would be about survivors trying to move on while a new chill settles over the town. This choice matters because by picking the other half of 1985, the showrunners are filling in the blanks. They are showing us that even when the main heroes were not looking, Hawkins was never truly safe. The winter setting does not just change the weather, it changes the stakes. It forces us to wonder what else happened in 1985 that we did not see. Either way, the creators have to thread a careful needle with continuity. The good news is they have proven themselves excellent at maintaining timeline consistency across seasons. The main show hasn't spent much time showing the town during winter months. Brief glimpses here and there, but never a sustained focus on that season. This animated series fills that gap, showing familiar locations transformed by snow and ice. The core of this animated series focuses on the 6 characters who started it all: Mike, Dustin, Lucas, Will, Eleven, and Max. These kids are the foundation of the entire franchise. Their friendship is the emotional engine of the show, so putting them front and center for this new story makes perfect sense. Images released so far suggest additional characters will appear, though official confirmation hasn't come for all of them yet. The decision to include these supporting players was smart because it connects the animated series to the larger world rather than isolating it as something separate. The show starts with a scary mystery that haunts the town during the freezing winter. Even for a place like Hawkins, this new trouble is weird and unusual. It all begins when Mike, Dustin, Lucas, Will, Eleven, and Max find clues that monsters from the Upside Down are back. This discovery pulls the friends into a dangerous investigation that is much bigger than they first thought. In the original show, we usually only see one big boss monster per season, like the Demogorgon or the Mind Flayer. But this animated series changes the rules. In just a short teaser, we see at least 4 different types of creatures. Instead of one giant threat, the kids are being hunted by a whole variety of monsters at the same time. This makes the winter setting feel even more dangerous because the kids are outnumbered by things they have never seen before. By using so many different creatures, the animated series can show us parts of the other dimension that the live-action show never had time to explore. It makes the mystery feel fresh because the kids cannot rely on what they learned in the past. They have to figure out how to survive a town that is suddenly crawling with all kinds of new, terrifying threats. One creature is thin and bony with long, spindly arms that drag on the ground. It stays low to the ground like a predator and has glowing red eyes that make it look truly haunting in the dark. This skeletal hunter moves in ways that feel unnatural and terrifying. Another creature looks like a living plant. Its body is made of twisting vines and roots, and it has glowing green patches that make it stand out against the white winter snow. The vine monster seems to blend nature with something much darker and more dangerous. There is also a much larger monster that has many different limbs reaching out in all directions. It looks massive and powerful, making it a huge physical threat to the group. This multi-armed giant towers over everything else and seems almost impossible to escape. These designs are fresh and creative. Instead of just showing us more Demogorgons, the creators are using animation to build brand new nightmares that we have never seen in the live-action show. Each monster feels different and brings its own kind of fear to the story. The main show never references other major dimensional threats happening during that winter before the summer events everyone remembers. So the creators need to explain why this story matters without breaking the history we already know. There are 3 main ways they can make this work. The kids might handle the problem in secret. If they defeat the monsters quietly, the rest of the town and even the adults might never know anything happened. This explains why nobody mentions it later in the summer. Another possibility is that the events in the winter might actually be the cause of the summer's problems. Perhaps the weirdness starts small in the snow and slowly grows into the massive invasion we see later at the Starcourt Mall. The mystery might also get resolved in a way that leaves no evidence behind. Once the snow melts, the proof of the monsters vanishes, leaving only our main heroes with the memories of what happened. The creators of Stranger Things are famous for making sure their timeline makes sense. For this animated series to feel like a real part of the story, they have to walk a thin line. It must feel dangerous because if the monsters are not scary or the stakes are not high, the fans will not care. It must also not create plot holes. They cannot change things that we have already seen. For example, they cannot have a character die in the winter if we know they are alive in the summer. By getting this balance right, the animated show becomes a valuable missing piece of the puzzle. It stops being just a side story and becomes a necessary chapter that helps us understand the characters even better. Here's where things get interesting with the voice cast. Not a single actor from the original series is returning to voice their character. Every role got recast with new talent. That decision might seem strange at first, but the reasoning makes perfect sense when you think about it. The actors who played these characters in the beginning have grown up considerably since those early seasons. Their voices changed as they went through adolescence, dropping in pitch and taking on different qualities. Watching the first season now and comparing it to the most recent season shows dramatic differences in how everyone sounds. Having those current adult voices coming from animated versions of their younger selves would create bizarre disconnect. Young characters would sound like adults pretending to be children, which would pull audiences right out of the story. Bringing in new voice actors who can authentically sound like kids in their early teens preserves the believability of these characters. It'll definitely feel weird at first for longtime fans who associate specific voices with specific characters. Hearing different actors say familiar character names and catchphrases will take adjustment, but ultimately, it's the right call for maintaining immersion. The identity of these new voice performers hasn't been revealed yet, which has fans speculating about who might be taking on these iconic roles. The teaser also shows the characters visiting several famous locations that are very important to the Stranger Things story. One of the biggest surprises is seeing the Hawkins National Laboratory. This secret government building was the center of the first 2 seasons, but it has been shut down for a long time. In this new series, the kids actually go inside to explore it. There's even a shot showing them heading down to the lowest levels, the exact spot where the first gate to the Upside Down was opened years ago. Since most of the kids have never been in those halls before, it feels like they are walking into a haunted house full of dark history. To keep the story feeling like a real part of the town, the show features a winter festival. These kinds of community events were always a big part of the original show. By setting scenes at a town party, the series can show the normal side of life in the Midwest. It creates a great contrast. On the surface, families are celebrating the holidays, but just beneath the surface, the kids are fighting supernatural monsters. Lastly, there are shots that look like they take place inside the Upside Down itself. In the live-action show, very few people have actually crossed over into that dimension and made it back alive. If the kids are forced to survive in that freezing, hostile world, it will make the story feel much more intense. It gives us a chance to see parts of that other world that we have never explored before. The Duffer Brothers' first idea for expanding the Stranger Things universe was actually already an animated series. They wanted the show to capture the nostalgic feeling of watching a classic Saturday morning cartoon, with the real Ghostbusters serving as a major inspiration for the dark yet adventurous tone. To bring this vision to life, the show is being developed by Eric Robles and Flying Bark Productions, the team behind Glitchtex. The series is executive produced by Robles alongside the original franchise leaders, the Duffer Brothers, Sean Levy, and Dan Cohen. While the series was initially planned to look like a traditional 2-dimensional cartoon, the creators eventually shifted to a high-end computer-generated animated style. This change was made to reflect the high stakes of the story, a world where, as the creators put it, not everyone might survive. The game changer for the show's look was the stylized fan art of Maybe's Ruiz Cruz. Her work was so influential that she was officially hired to create character busts that served as the basis for the three-dimensional models. Early production tests happened already in 2023, which involved turning the iconic Byers house into a computer-generated environment. To ensure the new monsters felt unique, the team brought on creature designer Carlos Huante to help build a new gallery of nightmares. Netflix has confirmed that the series will arrive sometime in 2026, this year of course. This is remarkably fast. While specific episode counts are still under wraps, the industry standard suggests a season of 8 to 12 episodes. Each episode is expected to run the highest 30 minutes, a shorter format common for animation compared to the hour-long live-action episodes. If the season follows a 10-episode structure, fans can expect roughly 4 hours of new Hawkins content. And that's everything we know so far about this chilling new chapter in Hawkins.